everybody, today I'm going to be doing a quick non-spoilery review of A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I had heard nothing but amazing things about this book. It definitely deserves all the hype I've been hearing about it. It was amazing. I particularly like this edition just because I like the illustrated awesomeness that is this book. It just really adds to the atmosphere, but there is, I think, a normal edition of it too that doesn't have any pictures, but like, why would you want that one? This one's really cool. There are a few things in particular that stood out to me that the book did really well. First of all, it grabs your attention right away. It's very immersive. This premise is basically that there's this 13-year-old boy, I think he's 13, and he's going through some stuff. He's having this terrible nightmare, but he cannot say what the end of it is. And so it grabs your interest from the beginning because you want to know what the heck he's talking about. And also, right in the beginning of the book, after you're hearing about this nightmare, he's having a different supposed nightmare about this monster coming to visit him. And then the next day, he's convinced that it was a nightmare, but there's weird like physical like evidence, like there's something in his room that makes it seem like it might have actually happened. And so it grabs you with that right away. I loved the magical realism aspect to the whole thing. You just were never quite sure exactly if it was ever really happening or in his head, and that was really good. And just in general, I liked the fact that he was a 13-year-old that sounded like a 13-year-old, sassy and adult-like and smart, but still kind of naive and childlike, and I liked that a lot. It definitely did sound like it convinced me. Something I love too is that the sad parts are sort of balanced out by these little bits of humor, and some of the funniest parts have these kind of really great truths in them, because there are these stories that he's being told throughout the book. They pretty much don't go at all how you expect them to. They don't go by any sort of conventions because they're supposedly true stories, and in those stories there's no clear-cut good guy and bad guy, and there's no clear-cut right and wrong thing, and the basic message is just that everything is nuanced and that not every story has a happy ending, and that's okay, and people can be monsters and monsters can be good guys, and I just really liked all those little moments in the book. And the last thing that I really liked was just this whole way of telling you things by leaving certain stuff out. Like, you don't always have to explicitly say a ton of different details in order for somebody to understand something, right? A lot of what is not said is just as important in a book as what is said, and this book is a perfect example of that. And yeah, just in general, this was a super pleasant read. It definitely is sad at points because, you know, you find out that the mother has cancer pretty much right at the beginning, and obviously that's a very tough thing to go through. It's just a very empathetic and very well written and beautiful story, and it makes you feel a lot of things. Most books put you into sort of a book hangover when they're this good. This one immediately made me want more story. I need more story like this with a similar vibe. I'm definitely interested to pick up something else by Patrick Ness now that I have finished this, though interestingly, this actually was inspired by an idea from somebody else. As far as who I think would like the book, I'm pretty sure just about anybody would. It's one of those stories that can apply to pretty much anyone at any age. It's probably a middle grade and up reading level, but otherwise I think pretty much anybody could enjoy this. I think that's about it. This has been a review. My name is Jackie and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.